Okay, welcome back to Masters and Doctorate Degrees Tips and Tricks. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, I encourage you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. We have got more than 50 videos so far where we are giving tips, we are giving tricks on how we can articulate different aspects of our research proposals, thesis, dissertations. So it's very important that you follow the channel, and you also tell people out there that there is also a channel that is dedicated to give support to students in various universities, in various field of studies. So don't struggle on your own, or don't allow other people to struggle when we have a nice thing that we have established to try and help different students around the world. I recently published a video on the writing a research proposal introduction. If you have not watched the video, I encourage you to go and watch the video. I've introduced the 5 steps that you need to follow whenever you are writing an introduction. And the 5 steps that I have introduced, they are not meant for you to make 5 paragraphs. It's only meant for you to make a 1 paragraph of a good introduction. And you need also to take note that although I have given 5 steps or 5 strategies of writing an introduction, it's not, I cannot say it's the best. You also need to do your homework, go out there and also read and also practice writing a good introduction. It's actually very good for you to do that. So let's just quickly explain some of the issues that why we always want you to write a very good introduction. And the first thing that you need to take note is the role of the introduction that it plays in writing in general, and also in your master's or doctoral degrees, thesis and dissertation, just in particular. One thing that I have emphasized, and I will continue to emphasize, is writing an introduction can be a difficult task or difficult part of your proposal, right? Most people think that writing an introduction, proposal introduction, is an easy thing to do, and it's not. And some of the reason why you see that some of the students, when they apply to do their masters or to do their PhD, they don't get some response. It's because they write wrong, they write bad introduction for their papers, and most of the reviewers or most of the graders that or the professors or doctors or lecturers, when they are looking for students to supervise, they go just for an introduction, and most of the introduction, they don't give a good impression for your work, or that you know what you're doing. So it's very important for you to make sure that you allow yourself to take the beating, or take that, allow yourself to do whatever you are supposed to do to make sure that your introduction for your research proposal is good and is sound. And the research proposal needs to be introduced in a way that makes sense to the reader. It is not a novel. You're not writing a novel. You're not writing an essay. You're not writing a short story. Here you are writing an academic piece of work, whereby we have got a lot of learned, a lot of experts in this area that are going to touch or that are going to review your work. So it's very important for you to make sure that the introduction that you write, it makes sense to them. You cannot just write an introduction full of sweeping statements and expect to be to pass the grading criteria, or so it's very important for you to take note of that. And it also acts as a bridge or to transport the reviewers. One thing that you should know is, in academic piece of work, you are writing to experts, you're writing to people that knows their area, the people that have spent years and years in that area. So they know what's in their area of study. So it's very important for you to take note of that. And when you are writing an introduction, you are allowing them to leave their world, to come into your space of analysis. So if your introduction does not allow them to leave whatever they are doing, if they don't find a reason to drop whatever they are doing, to come to your world of analysis, to come to try to understand whatever you are saying, then it means that you have got a problem. So you need to make sure that your introduction facilitates that transition between their own world, their world to your own world. It's very important for you to that end. Take note that is of course it's going to be a temporary transition. Then it's whenever you write your good introduction, I said here it offers evidence to prove your thesis that it is worth. And most of the people, when they write these introduction, they don't think of that. They don't go beyond that to think the implication of writing an introduction. Why do we write an introduction? Why do we have to spend so much time? Why do we have to read so much around just for us to write a paragraph, one paragraph of an introduction? In most cases, when an introduction is too big, maybe it's half the page, but in most cases it's less than the half a page. So it's very important. It actually pays at the end of the day. Why do you have to do that? And why do you have to bother writing a good introduction? So the first part that I'm going to emphasize here is you will never get a second chance to make your first impression. You're not going to get that. So your opening paragraph is actually an opportunity. It's an opportunity that you have been given to make that initial impression, to show what you are, in fact, your initial impression of your arguments, of your writing styles, of the overall quality of your work. And that we can only see it whenever you open up with a good introduction. So if you write a vague statement, disorganized, error-filled, off-the-wall, boring introduction, all that will probably create a negative impression about you. So don't forget, it's fair for you to think in introduction as a brand ambassador for you. It is speaking on your behalf when you are not even there. So you need to make sure that you make a concise, engaging, a well-written, error-free introduction every time whenever you start your work. Because what will happen is the readers will start thinking of you so highly, and your analytical skills, your writing styles, and even your paper. So the impression is especially important. This impression is especially very important when the reviewers or the audience you are trying to reach will be examining you or will be grading you. And in this case, we have got to, you are not writing for people for entertainment anyway. So you need to take note of that. The people that are going to review your work are people that are learned in their space, and you need to convince them. And your introduction, it is a roadmap. It is a roadmap. In the video that I've just talked about, step number 5, I have emphasized the importance of you to make sure that you give an overall view of how your argument is going to progress. Introduction as well, it makes your readers want to read your paper. That's one thing that is more important. We don't want the readers to touch our paper, they read the introduction, then they throw it away. We want readers to read our paper. We want the other scholars to cite whatever we have written. We want scholars to, and the more people that cite our work, the better. So we want more people to engage with our content. And the only way we can make people engage with our content is to make sure that our introduction, whenever we are writing, is actually relevant, is actually appealing, it's you know, or that if you have not listened to the video, please go and listen to the video. The 5 steps of writing an introduction. It's already out there. Start by thinking, whenever you are writing an introduction, there are some few things that you need to take note of. Besides the video, you also need to think whether or to decide how general or broad your opening should be. I've talked about the topic. If you decide that your introduction or your first line with the topic, it might mean that you have decided to go slightly general. But if you decide to start with an objective, you might actually go slightly narrow. So it's also very important now to keep in mind that a big picture opening needs to be clearly related to the topic. You can just write a very broad argument. Otherwise it's not going to be. Try writing your introduction at first. I know this is now opposite of what I have emphasized. Whenever you write your introduction at the end, is always the best thing for you to do, because at least you know what you need to argue. And if you write it from the beginning, you might find that you don't know what you are going to argue at the beginning of writing something. So it's always good for you to start to end to write your introduction at last. But it does not necessarily mean that you can't write your introduction first. And don't be afraid to write a tentative introduction first and then change it later. So this strategy that I'm using is I'm starting to write an introduction. It is a tentative introduction, and then we change it or we modify it as we go. Then you need to pay special attention to your first sentence. I have expressed that in the video. It's very important. We need a hooking statement, a striking statement, and a striking opening statement to make sure that we capture the attention of the reviewers or the readers. And you need also to be straightforward and confident whenever you write. You need to show. Don't write a passive statements when in your introduction. You need to make sure that you avoid writing passive statements whenever you are writing your introduction. We want your introduction to be, to stand out. We want your introduction to be convincing. We want your introduction to tell the reviewers that you know exactly what you want to do. You know your arguments. You know your problem that you are going out there to research, and the literature that is out there that has been published on your topic. And it's also very important to evaluate your introduction draft. And by evaluating your introduction, there are so many ways that you can do. The first thing is you can give your friends, you give your peers just to read your introduction, so that at the end of the day, they can also give you some feedback. There's no. I know you might have been writing so many introductions before, but it's always good to make sure that you also ask other peer reviewers also to help you check your introduction. And also, more importantly, is to study. Go out there and read about an introduction and try to compare what they are saying about writing an introduction and what you have written, and also go and take other introduction that has been written that you think are the best introduction, and check whether your introduction is also comparing with their introduction. Then there are 5 kinds of less effective introduction. Of course, if there are effective introduction or there's a good introduction, there's gonna be other introduction that are less effective. And I want you to avoid those introduction at all cost. The first one is being a placeholder introduction. When students write introduction, in most cases, it's a placeholder introduction. They just write an introduction for the sake of writing an introduction. Once you have done that, you are creating a weaker introduction. And normally a weaker introduction contains a vacuum statement that says nothing at all. You have seen that people can spend 5 hours talking, but if you ask yourself, what were they talking? They were talking nothing. So you need to make sure that you stay away from creating introduction just to take up the introduction space in your research proposal. If you do that, then you are going to see that your introduction is not going to be effective. It's not going to be relevant anyway. The introduction is going to say something in the body of your proposal is also going to say something. So it's very important for you to make sure that you don't use that placeholder introduction. Then the second type of introduction, which I want you to avoid, but you can use it if you want, is the restated question introduction. People just go back into their body, take the main question, and just restate it. It might be a good way, an effective strategy if you know how to maneuver from it. But I want you to try, by all means, to avoid that, because in most cases, when you restate the question, there is it's easy for you to stop at just restating the question instead of offering a more specific and interesting introduction to your paper. So make sure that whenever you start by restating the question, you also have to go ahead and offer more specific and interesting introduction to your paper. Then the Webster dictionary. That's the third one, type of definition. We have people that whenever they want to start writing, they just go to the Webster dictionary to get the term, the Webster. So we call that type of introduction, the Webster introduction. Yes, it can be also very good at kind of an introduction, depending on what you want to do. But in the scholarly, you need to take note that the dictionary is not really regarded as authoritative. And you need to take note that saying authoritative for some or for many reasons. So because the dictionary is more broad, is more general, does not have a specific field of study that it addresses. So it's very important if you are using the dictionary, the definition to open up the stock. It's also very important for you to consider maybe using the dictionaries that are field related dictionary, if you have decided to take that approach. But it's not a very good way of starting. And if you have decided to start with that, just you need to make sure that you still need to do a lot of work to make sure that you make that dictionary introduction effective. It is because it's in most cases it is ineffective simply because they are also overused. And it's very important for you to take note of that. Then the fourth type of introduction is the dawn of man introduction. Since the dawn of man introduction, we have seen people writing those definition in the academic essay since the dawn of man. And so we call those dawn of man introduction kind of introduction. Those ones they are very broad. They contain a lot of sweeping statements, sitting statements about the relevance of your topic. So it's very important that you avoid that. And if you go that route, you normally fail to connect to your thesis. And writing that kind of introduction when you don't have much to say, it's really effective. So don't go that from time immemorial, the kind of introduction, it's not relevant in the academic in the academic profession. Then we go on to the last one that I want to talk about, which is the book report introduction. The book report introduction, when this is the kind of introduction, when you use it at elementary school, you give the name and the name and the author of the book, the name of the book and the author. Then you go on to tell, what the book is about and offer some basic facts about the book. There are some people that write introduction like that, and it's really you need to be serious whenever you think of these things. This is academic work that you are writing. This is work that you want to go out there, or you want some expert, you want some lecturers, you want some professors, you want some doctors, people that has been in a field for 50 years of their time, 20 years just doing the same thing, and you are taking a book called introduction to them, and you think that you're gonna impress them. It's not gonna work. It is that type of introduction. It's effective. It offers details that your reader already knows and that are irrelevant to the thesis. You need to take note of that. It's very important. Writing an introduction is not something that is easy. It's not something that you can just do, overnight. And that is the reason why in this writing, in these 12 weeks of writing a proposal, writing an introduction has got its 1 week. You write an introduction in 1 week. You need to make sure that in that 1 week you have gone through the literature, you have gone through whatever it takes for you to be able to come out with a very good introduction. So I encourage you to go out there and also read about writing an introduction. It's not just a matter of just writing an introduction and you throw it to the supervisor. It's not just a matter of just using a placeholder introduction, then you just leave it like that. It's not a good thing to do. So I hope that this video will help you. Please, if you have not watched the YouTube channel, the Masters and Doctoral Degrees Tips and Tricks, please subscribe and watch it. They are so valuable videos that I have posted there, and I'm happy we are growing each and every day. And I hope that there are so many students that are going to be helped as we go. So enjoy and see you in the next video. Thank you.